Welcome everybody to a Delco Nerd Network hot take. Guys, if you haven't seen a hot take before, well, it's where a few friends get in a basement, we give our thoughts, we give our opinions on a TV show, a movie, or a game. Today, it's going to be another game, and that game is RoboCop Rogue City. Here to discuss, as always, the Robo Boy in Blue, Chris Trio.
Gooch, it's Trebocop. Thank you very much. No, that doesn't really work very well, but Dead or Alive, this game is really good. That's all. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, you played it. I didn't, so you're definitely going to be taking the helm on this one.
Absolutely.
Is RoboCop Rogue City Game of the Year?
It's in my top, maybe my top 3, to be
Really?
honest. Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't know. I got to really think about it more, but
You enjoyed this one.
I really did. I have a certain affinity for the source material, so I'm sure that helps a little bit. I thoroughly enjoy those original films, especially the first two. The third one, we don't really like to talk about that much, and that kind of comes through in this game because it's set after the second game or the second movie, and completely ignores the third movie. I think it might set up some things for the third movie, but I haven't seen it in so long that it's just like out of my mind. But yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. This comes from a studio. I should look up their name, but they did a few
Night
games
Dive
before.
Studios?
Night Dev Studios. They did a Terminator game apparently a year or two ago that has some pretty good buzz around it.
I remember that.
I think the one they did before that though I can't remember exactly what it was, but wasn't so well regarded. They really have a respect for the source material that I don't think I've seen since Alien Isolation.
Sure.
Like where you really feel like they took the time to get the minutia of the world and like the tone of the setting, the colors, everything. It feels like they sat me back down in old Detroit from those movies. And it's easy to kind of, fuck up the tone of RoboCop because it is super satirical. It's very over the top. I don't think the reboot really took advantage of a lot of that stuff in a lot of ways. When it came to the movies, it was a much more serious tone, which, I enjoy that reboot for what it is, but it's for sure not as tongue-in-cheek as the originals.
No, RoboCop is like absolutely
It's insanity.
ridiculous.
I mean, it's like they're like, so a nuclear bomb went off in South Africa today. And anyways, on the news, and like
Now
they
I'm
just
gonna
kind of
blow
move
this
on.
guy apart.
Yeah, and just the squibs in that movie, all of it. It's so good, and I think this game, in the best ways, commits to all that. It's insanely violent. You can shoot people's dick off, which is always great.
Like what does that mean?
You can shoot them in the
I mean, like, I
pit,
know,
and they're
but,
like,
like,
oh,
what-
and then they go to like they react, like
okay.
they're like my dick or something like that.
My cock.
Yeah, but it starts out kind of slow. You're going through the first mission, getting the basics, and you're like, all right, what exactly can I do here as RoboCop? Because they commit to the movement speed of him. You got that kind of lumbering toosh toosh, and all the sound effects and everything is perfect.
So it doesn't move fast.
He doesn't move that fast, but you
Okay.
can sprint. And you can sprint to a point where I believe is realistic, where I'm like, okay, because you do see him sprint in the movies here and there, but the sound effects, like all the moving of his different joints and everything, it's spot on. But he's more of a slow lumbering figure, but the satisfaction of just shooting people, it's some of the best I've seen in a long time. Like the shooting snappy, it feels responsive, it feels like you're just like fucking people up. The destruction of the environment is a really cool thing. It's very kind of malleable. You can pick people up, throw them. And that first mission, you're like, okay, this is interesting. And I could see there's not a ton to do here, though. But as you go through, you can...
You mean in terms of content? Like it's a...
in terms of combat.
It's
okay.
like...
It was like, oh, okay, I can just kind of run, and I'm a bit tankish, but, their bullets affect you. But you're using your gun, which, why am I forgetting the name of it? An incredibly iconic weapon, his gun. And you can use different guns. You can pick up assault rifles and different 50 caliber handguns and things like that.
But is the weapon list kind of extensive or no?
It's more extensive than I would have expected. There's probably 6 or 7. There's a mini Uzi, a smaller SMG, an AK-47, a 50 caliber pistol.
So like a Desert Eagle?
Desert Eagle, a shotgun, which is one of the better shotguns I've used in a while. It's so punchy. It feels so good to use. A sniper rifle that you only use once or twice in the game. But I did find myself going back to his handgun for the most time because they do introduce this thing where you get motherboards for it that you can upgrade the gun with.
And is that the only upgradable gun or the other gun?
Yeah,
okay, cool.
You can really only kind of meld that gun. And, there are a lot of RPG elements in this that I was kind of surprised about that work way more well than I would have expected them to. You have like these kind of 7 or 8 different skill trees that you can put in. They're not, I hesitate to call them skill trees, but that's, I think, the best way to describe them. There's 10 slots in each of them. You get a skill point every time you level up. You get 1,000 XP. And, you know, the base thing, once you get 2 points into each of them, there's 4 abilities you can unlock. One is a dash, which is really helpful. It like propels you forward like a few feet. The other is a flash, which like blinds everyone around you. Mm-hmm. There's like an overshield type deal where like you're pretty invulnerable for like 5 seconds.
Okay.
And then what's the fourth one? Dash, shield, blinding. Why am I forgetting the fourth one? I feel like the fourth one the blinding one I didn't end up using that much. Why am I forgetting the fourth one? Anyways, those really kind of elevate combat past the beginning because you're just walking around and shooting.
Right.
But once you get those, you can really kind of like the cooldowns work. You're using them all to really, you know, manage all of your different enemies. There's a lot of enemy types. A lot more than I would have expected, which is cool. There's some guys like on motorcycles riding around, like they're the movers, so they're kind of harder to hit. Oh, focus. That's the last one. It slows down time. It's a bullet. It's like a bullet time effect.
Sure.
Which is very helpful, especially by the end with your handgun. I played on hard. It felt like an appropriate difficulty. It felt like I was kind of getting fucked up.
Is the game linear in terms of its story? Is there like open world-esque kind of like, what's the game structure?
Absolutely. So there's the Detroit downtown area that you revisit a few different times throughout the game.
Okay.
And there's like side content, you know, you can write people tickets for stupid things, or you can go,
Really? Like
So
anyone?
like, well, not anyone. So like it'll be like, all right, you have to solve, protect the peace or something.
Protect
is one
and
of
serve.
It's like the secondary objective while you're in that.
I'm
So
Peter
you go
Weller.
around. It's me, Peter Weller, dead or alive. You
Dead
just
or
like can
alive.
find things like, oh, someone didn't pay their speeding ticket. All right, I'll write them a ticket. Or you find like a vagrant on the street and he's like drinking on the side, and you're like, you're not supposed to do that. So there are a few different RPG elements in the way of your choice and how your choices affect the world, which I found pretty interesting. You can choose to be super robot-y. I am not Alex Murphy anymore. I'm RoboCop. Or you can kind of lean into your humanity more and try to be like, no, I am still Alex Murphy. And it's interesting. And you can also do that.
Does that
through-
change an ending?
It does, apparently. Like by the end, you can be regarded more as like everyone's like calling you RoboCop, or like it kind of depends on who calls you Murphy and things like that. You're seen more as a machine than a man, or vice versa. You can also choose whether or not you want to enforce the law, and that goes towards your public trust meter versus your law meter. You can choose to always give someone a ticket and to follow the law to the letter. Or you can choose to maybe give them a warning, and that ups your public trust, which affects the outcome of the end of the game and how like people view you throughout the world. So like there's one guy, for instance, you can catch him, he's spray painting a wall and he's tagging it, and you can either let him off with a warning or give him a ticket. If you give him a ticket, you come back there the next time and there's a big mural that says "fuck you, RoboCop," and he has like X's on his eyes and it's like giving middle finger. If you just, you know, let him off with a warning, it's like him like with like a halo, like helping people and something like that. Like I don't know if it's that specifically, but it's like a more, you know, a better light shined on him. But I did not expect to have as much RPG elements in this as I got. You are role playing as RoboCop.
It seems from what you're describing, it kind of sounds like an immersive sim a la Deus Ex.
To a degree, yeah. I would agree. I don't think it's as interactable as like a Deus Ex is, but
Sure.
it like in the way of just your environment.
Yeah.
But
like, you know, in the sense of like its world, like it has like a linearly open world, and then you go
Absolutely.
to places that you never go back to.
yeah.
And,
So that's what I was gonna say. With downtown, that's the only one you go back to a few times. But you go to like the steel mill that you see in the movies. You see where he was shot, even at one point. And there's this kind of through line of he's glitching throughout the whole campaign, and they don't know why. And OCP is like, there's this mystery. They're like, we need to, if he keeps doing this, we need to take him off the streets. So you start getting these psych evals from this new doctor, which is also another thing you can choose to be like very forthcoming with her, or say fuck off, and how your relationship at the end
kind of divided you in the therapy sessions.
Yeah. And you have like a score at the end of each mission that goes over, like you get an A, B, or C, and it depends on how, and that kind of allocates how much XP you get, which in turn obviously goes to your skill points. I did find myself investing mostly, like there's like vitality, engineering, deduction. The scanning's really cool. The HUD in this, it's weird. One of them you can upgrade so that your targeting doesn't like works immediately. But if you ever watch the old movie, it goes from his point of view and it does it in this. It like triangles in on someone and marks them. And I'm like, that's cool. I don't want to get rid of that because that's like immersed. Like this is how his targeting system works.
A Gucchism.
It was a Gucchism. I was like, I don't feel the need to update. I don't feel like I need to upgrade this skill anymore because I actually kind of like the mechanic of it individually going like you aim in and there's 6 people in front of you at ding, ding, ding. And it's like the classic heads up display from it. And that just goes back to like the detail of it all. And just how RoboCop looks in each scene. He's definitely the best looking person. This is for sure a AA game. I will preface that.
I can get that vibe from it. How does Peter Weller do? I know. You know what's funny? I've seen some pictures of him from Comic-Con. He doesn't look like he's doing well.
He's an old dude. He's old. Well, for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think
is it just his age?
I think it really
maybe
is.
he just hasn't aged like well,
I think he just hasn't aged as gracefully.
Right. Yeah,
but I mean,
was like,
dude,
oh man, Peter Weller doesn't look too good. But
no, he doesn't.
If he came back for this game,
and he's in it, like I mean, he's talking so much, and I do think that is another layer of, even again, bringing it back to like Alien Isolation. They have Sigourney Weaver come in to do a line in that. And that just
is she's in RoboCop?
Not in Robo. I'm saying in Alien Isolation.
Oh yeah,
like as like a point of like that really just puts a button on it and making it realistic. And even the girl who plays Anne Lewis, like she sounds a lot like her. Surprisingly enough, I don't think it is the actual actress who played her back in the day, but they capture her well enough. The game looks beautiful, like it looks fucking gorgeous. Even like RoboCop's armor. Like when shit's shining off it in the cutscenes, and I do like that they did the cutscenes from third person and not just like a first person angle. But there is still a good amount of choice in certain dialogue. So certain dialogues you'll just have like 3 options, and it'll be like that's kind of more of a pointed choice that will affect you. Whereas like there's other ones where you're just kind of having a dialogue and just you can learn more if you want, or you can just kind of keep going. You can be like, all right, thanks for the information, goodbye. But those kind of choices did feel weighty, which I appreciated too. And I don't know, there was something confusing though. Like there's a through line with a reporter that's going against OCP that you can like get to trust you or not trust you. And apparently she didn't trust me by the end. And I was like, bitch, I did like everything for you, you bitch. Like I helped you out so much because you are in this weird like in between of like your OCP property.
Right.
But like you still kind of have your own like wits about you, but you're not a human. It is like, there's this question of like giving him human rights too by the end and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen I've only seen the first RoboCop, but I haven't seen it in long.
If you've seen the first RoboCop, you've seen the second RoboCop too, because it's literally the same movie done again, but pretty good. You know who directed it too? Fucking he wrote Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah. You know what? They did an episode on RoboCop. Knockback did.
Oh yeah, I know. I need to watch it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Check that out. I just watched it. Yeah, and he was talking about that. And then that director Aronofsky.
Yeah. Darren. Oh no.
No.
Paul Verhoeven did the first one.
Verhoeven.
Yeah, he did the first one, and then I'm forgetting who did the second.
Who's
one.
Aronofsky? Why am I?
Darren Aronofsky. That's another. I think that's Ma or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Why did I say his name? I don't know. Yeah. What was it?
No, yeah.
Verhoeven.
Paul Verhoeven, yeah. I mean, dude, that movie, if you've never seen RoboCop, it 100% holds up to this day. Please go back and watch it. And if you like it, play this game. Because it really does just hit all those things.
Yeah, it's funny. When I see things like this, and I think we were talking about this in Discord, it's like, you know,
I understand.
What's the word that I'm looking for? Not third-party games.
Like AAA games?
Like movie adaptation games.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays. I mean, before they were kind of usually shit.
Especially if they were coinciding with an actual movie release.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like you see them now and it's kind of like reminds you, it's like, ooh, like that can't be good.
You know what?
But it's good to see that, like, I mean, you know, Alien kind of showed us wrong a little bit with that, but that's a little bit different, I guess, because it's like just using Alien Universe, but it's not really, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like this is almost like, it's different from Arkham, obviously in play style and that stuff, but it's kind of the same idea in the way of it's kind of taking it in its own direction and like really leaning into itself, but at the same time it does a good job of fully referencing those first 2 movies and bringing a lot of things back full circle, because like You see RoboCop 2 in this again. You get to fight him by the end, which is awesome. Like, you get to fight Ed 209s.
Yeah, I was going to say, he had 209s in there.
I could see a AAA version of this game that works very well, where it's an actual, where it's like an actual like open city where you can stop crimes and stuff like that. Like, it could be something cool, but I think there is something to having this more intimate type of experience, and
I think immersive sim is probably
definitely a good way to put it.
Genre for this type of
No, I agree,
game.
and I've heard this is,
and maybe I wouldn't have come to that conclusion unless they,
Sure.
if they did it.
And yeah, it falls down. Some of that voice acting's a little cheesy. Most of it works very well. The facial animation is where you can tell they really kind of just didn't put the budget into.
How's the rest of the cast besides the two mains?
Pretty good. The villain, I'm forgetting his name. He's a bit forgettable, but like at the same time, it works well within the story of the
too,
Yeah,
probably
and
not.
because it's a bit of an intermingled story. It gets a little convoluted by the end with like who's against who, but all of the characters feel squarely set in that world and feel very much akin to what I would see and someone who might show up in another RoboCop movie. It doesn't feel like someone who doesn't fit the world at all, which I appreciate. And even by the end, like you're blowing people's heads off. The way people are just fine with the absurdity that happens in the city is so good, and it works so very well.
What's the year of the movie?
It's like 1980s still, I think, maybe 90s.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're set at present day, like whenever that was made. So
No. Sorry, I think I said that wrong. When in the world, what's the time period in the movie?
I don't know the exact year, but I know it's like I said, obviously after RoboCop 2. I just don't know when exactly.
No.
Like time. I know what you're saying. Like the exact year.
Yeah,
right?
like is it like 2052?
No. I think it's still not like the late 1900s or whatever. Like I'm trying to even see like when it's set because there's no like future cut. Like it's very much set within the contemporary time of that when it was made.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know how long after they take place in each other like that. I think
that's on board. I would just I don't really know if the world is like a futuristic one other than the fact that there's like a RoboCop.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a terrible, awful place. Like it's super capitalistic too.
I mean, Detroit's such a shithole.
There's such hilarious. Like when you're walking through OCP headquarters, they're just the worst. Like you know what I mean? Like oh, my platinum membership doesn't let me get the sauna anymore. It's like I don't know. And they just hate just the worst caricature of what a business person could be like. And it works very well within the world of RoboCop. And listen, this is one of the best first-person shooters I think I've played in a while. Like when it comes to especially a single-player campaign.
Do you think it could win a game award this year? Do you think for like something? Maybe obviously it's not going to be a Game of the Year nominee, but
I don't know, man. I mean, it does look beautiful, and I don't know that will get it any awards. I think it's an incredibly well thought out and put together game.
Yeah,
that has some scenes showing through because of its production budget and such, and the team it's coming from. But in spite of that, it works so well, and I think that's like a victory unto itself and deserving of something unto itself. I would love to see it get some type of recognition at the Game Awards. I don't know what category you could probably throw that in, because of course it's not Game of the Year.
Yeah, but
is it up there for me? Yeah, because I didn't even realize it was coming out until this year, and it blew my socks off.
Yeah, that's awesome. How much was it?
50 or 60? No, it's 60. I think actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Which by the end I platinumed it.
Yeah, how was the platinum? I guess pretty easy.
It was easy. I only had like 3 by the time I was done the game. That
3
I had
more
to
trophies to get.
Yeah.
What were the trophies remaining? Just like something
I had to
you just
go back
didn't do?
to. There was like one part where you're like, so they do introduce a bunch of like robotic enemies in this too, which again, it's very satisfying, like shooting off their different parts, and like it works very well. But there's a warehouse level where you're like facing a horde of them, and you got to do it in like 10 minutes. And it's weird. You can't play like it. You just can reload saves once the game's over. There's no real end game content.
Oh, so the game ends. And
the game ends, and once you press continue, it just starts you back up before the last checkpoint, like before the end of the game, like with the
but
final.
You can go back and
you still have all your saves. So I was able to just reload saves from certain areas. So I had to go back to like.
So you made different save slots.
It did it automatically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it had saves for each level, it seemed, but then it had auto saves. So I was able to go back. I needed to go find like this one chest at the steel mill. There's these not Omni. I keep wanting to say OmniCorp, OCP chests like throughout the world that have different upgrades and such in them. and I just need to get one in there. And then the other one was like find a secret in the arcade in one level, which is easy. I just had to reload the save.
Right.
And the third one was something similar. I just had to go back to a level and find something.
And you said your playthrough was like 17 hours?
17 hours once I finished.
That's not bad. I mean, maybe for $60.
Yeah, and again, I think
especially with everything coming out, maybe not the buy, but obviously it's clear that if you're a RoboCop fan, this is sounds like a must buy.
Absolutely. If you have any affinity for the series at all, go buy it now. If you don't and you want a good shooter, wait until it's 30. And I think that's a very apt and reasonable.
Do you
price.
know if this game sold well? And I think it reviewed pretty well.
I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like we don't usually get those sales figures for a bit.
You might have not even have those numbers anyway.
I would hope it sells well enough for them to just do another game. Because
I was gonna say, do they set up a sequel or
I mean, there's definitely open-ended enough to where they could do another.
Right. They could totally do
RoboCop's
another
alive.
Story,
we got the bad guy for the most part. Yeah, I think you could easily make another one if this does well. This makes me want to go. I honestly might go buy their Terminator game tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because again, it's gotten very good reviews, and I was gonna do it actually even before I got this to fill some time. But I was like,
that's awesome.
I'll get RoboCop, and then I'll wait and see.
Sometimes it's kind of nice. And I feel like I'm like this with maybe like Lucas Pope's games, Paper Please and Return to Obra Dinn, and no, that was the last one he did. Yeah. I was thinking about Pentiment for some reason, but like a series that other people like and is well received from Rubber Review, but you're the only one within your circle to play it, so it's kind of like you're in a little special thing. I kind of like having those games. I think I know you've played Papers Please, but I think it's I don't hear a lot of people talking about Papers, Please or Return to Obra Dinn a lot. Yeah. I just getting that fuck yeah. I want to talk about Return to Obra Dinn or even Pentiment.
Sure.
Something like that. And I there is such a space for double A's still. So it's great to see a studio sort of taking that approach with games and not trying to be it's clearly not an indie team, I would say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but and not trying to do a AAA game. And obviously there are limitations, but I think those do add charm and stuff.
Those environments too, I can't say they're beautiful. It's the reflections and everything, and I do wish there was more like RoboCop won't cast a shadow while you're walking, which I think a lot of that is kind of just pre-baked in then, I guess, with their graphics, but it still looks gorgeous. It's beautifully grungy.
Is that destroying the immersion for you? Probably not.
No.
Yeah, maybe
I only noticed it once.
that kind of sucks, but all right.
But I mean, it's a beautifully crafted and looking game. The main way you interact with it is fun. It's not just shooting. Those RPG elements really kind of shine through and make it even more interesting.
Yeah,
it reminds me of Doom in a few different ways.
I would have never assumed there were those morality mechanics, and again, I think comparing it to Deus Ex was pretty apt on my part. So.
And dude, I would love to maybe go back through this one time again and be more, because I ended up erring more on the side of being human.
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah. Would you actually want to replay it?
I think so.
Time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe 6-7 months down the line and be like, oh, okay, now I'm going to do the other morality playthrough.
It's funny. It reminds me of. I always play Alien Isolation every once in a while on Halloween, just because it's like watching a movie. I really enjoy that game.
You really, I watch you I'm like, he's really playing a lot of Halloween games.
I was on a kick, especially during Halloween, but I could see myself returning to this just to watch it, to play it again, to have fun, watch another RoboCop movie. And you
wanted to do RoboCop for Rewind review
at some point for sure. Yeah,
that'd be a fun 3-er.
Yeah. The fun 2, the third one, but we'd have to do it. We definitely. It just gets weird and wild. Anyways, and PG for some dumb reason.
Really?
It's so, by that time it has its balls cut off. He's throwing people against the wall and using tranq darts and stuff like that. It's not the same at all.
It's me, Peter Weller.
I mean, dude, nothing can embody it more than that scene of Peter Weller getting shot to shit at the beginning. Yeah. But then also the other scene when they have the Ed 209 in the actual boardroom, and he just lights up the dude, he's standing there for 15 minutes, still just shaking. And then, my favorite part after that is that they all just walk out damn, Ed 209's not going to go to production. You know what I mean? It's not even a thought. Shit. That's, again, you're walking through OCP headquarters, another great, just to point out to that of They're like, getting shot is no longer a reason to miss work. If it's a skim, you have to come in. You have to have gone to the hospital to get out of work that day, or something to that degree. But just like insane, like loudspeaker announcements.
That kind of humor. Exactly. I don't know what the word is for it, but yeah,
just like satirical and over the top is the best way I could put it. Yeah. But anyways, Gooch, anything else you want to know?
I think I'm good, man. It sounds good. I'm not gonna play this game.
Sure.
It's just because I don't have the affinity for RoboCop. But if I did, maybe if we do the rewind review and you
get a little more into it.
I really get a rustle in my jimmies to play
get it
RoboCop.
going.
Yeah, I would.
Awesome.
And like, it being cheaper would also be nicer for me. But I think if you're a fan, I think you're going to pay the $60
and you'll be
cool
completely happy. Yeah. I do think though, if you're like someone who's like, I want a good shooter, but I don't really know much about RoboCop, you'd probably be a little bit more like, eh.
Right. But again, really IP driven.
Absolutely. And I mean, hey, I guess that's a lot of certain things, but definitely more than others. Gooch, everyone, thank you all for watching with us live on twitch.tv. I was going to say, Gooch hasn't. Thank you for being here. For watching with us live on twitch.tv/Delco Nerd Network. We really appreciate your time. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Just search Delco Nerd Network. We're also on all your favorite social medias as well, at Delco Nerds on basically everything. We got a Discord. We got a Facebook page. All that good stuff will be linked down below. You can even email us all your comments, questions, or concerns to delconerds@gmail.com. We'd be happy to get back to you. You can find all this information on our website, DelcoNerdNetwork.com. Drop a like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about us. It goes a majorly long way. We appreciate you all being here with us every single week. But for Gooch, I've been Trio. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay nerdy, and we will see you next time.